It really looks like Meghan Markle does not get along with her neighbours in Montecito, as another one has put her on blast in a new interview, claiming she's not an asset to their community. And oh my goodness, does this neighbour say so much more. Hey up everyone, it's me, Stef, the alternate, your nerdy alternative, and welcome to the Dust, the Daily Nerd, where I break down the royal news and gossip of the day that's pretty much caught me eye. And oh my goodness, yeah, let's jump into this madness, shall we? Because it really does look like Megsy does not get along with her neighbours in Montecito, as another one is now putting her on blast in this new interview, claiming she's not an asset to their community, and so much more. And so we're hearing from more neighbours getting more candid and truthful about living with or next to, let's say, Megsy and Hazza. We have Richard Mineards here. We've heard from him before. We're now going to be hearing from him again, having strong opinions about them in a recent Daily Mail interview last Friday, saying, quote, "I personally don't think that Meghan is an asset to our community. In other words, Megsy's worthless to us. She ain't worth anything. Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, she ain't worth the paper we wipe ourselves with." Strong opinion indeed, right? He then adds she doesn't really go out or get involved with the community. And to a certain extent, I can actually second that. So for those that don't know, last year in September 2023, I actually went over to LA and with Andy, my big brother, over on Popcorn Palace, we went to Montecito. Now, before you start freaking out, we stuck to public places. We didn't break any laws whatsoever. We sought legal advice before we went, okay, to make sure that we were doing everything correctly. And when we were speaking to some of the people that live there and work in Montecito, they essentially gave us the impression that they don't really see Hazza and Megsy much in the community. And a lot of them have turned around and says, yeah, they don't really come into our shop or use our services, this, that, and the other. Yeah. So when you've got Richard Mineards here saying she doesn't really go out or get involved with the community, I can actually second that by experience, which, you know, I have to admit, I'll be very honest, I'm quite lucky to have had the chance to go over there in the first place, right? And so this is the thing. You have this Montecito neighbour, Richard Mineards, turning around and saying she ain't an asset to our community. She doesn't get involved with our community in any way, shape or form. Unless, in my opinion, conspiracy theory or whatever, she calls back grid, allegedly, when she does go out for her pap walks in the nearest car park, this, that and the other, right, guys? But despite his harsh words, he does feel slightly different about Prince Hazza. And so he says, Meghan doesn't seem to get seen anywhere. But about Harry, he says, and you don't see him either. And so this isn't the first time that a neighbour from Montecito has spoken out against Hazza and Megsy. July last year, you had Frank McGinty, who was a US Navy veteran, 88 years old, claiming that he was actually snubbed by Hazza and Megsy when he tried to give them fills about the area's history, about the history of Montecito when they first moved in. He wrote in his travel memoir, Get Off Your Street, quote, "I have a big house next to Harry and Meghan's property, and I live in the guest house while renting the main house out on Airbnb. Harry and Meghan live on an old McCormick property, and I went up to their gate with the films on a CD, but they weren't interested." He claims he was turned away by a man at the gates who wouldn't take the film and told him, quote, "They're not interested." And McGinty says, look, I was trying to be neighbourly. And he wrote echoing what Mineards said, which was, we don't see them very much around here. So you've got two neighbours in Montecito saying that they don't see him very much out and about in Montecito in the first place. You've got myself, who has visited Montecito, who spoke to people who live and work in Montecito. Pretty much told us the same thing. Andy and I the same thing. Now, we don't see them much around here. They don't really involve themselves with us around here. Yeah. A pattern's emerging. No wonder Megsy is put on blast by Richard Mineards in this new interview, essentially saying, Meg is absolutely worthless to us in this community. She ain't worth the paper we wipe our shiz on. See where I'm coming from, guys? But yeah, ultimately, McGinty concluded, look, it's surprising that they came here. People are typically older. It's where the elephants come to die. Or it's where fake royals, right, who pretend to be royal, but they're really not as far as we're concerned, right? It's where they go to die and fade into irrelevance. Because a new YouGov poll has come out, and yet again, Meghan has her are classed as the least popular royals in the royal family. The only one that's even worse than them is Prince Andrew, and that's saying something. You know what I mean, guys? But yeah, you've got now 2 Montecito neighbours putting Meghan has her on blast and turning around specifically with Megsy in this new interview, this new development by Richard Mineards, turning around and saying she's not an asset to our community. She's absolutely worthless. That's got to sting. That's really, really got to sting, right? But this is the thing. Why doesn't she involve herself even further within the town that she lives in? Why doesn't she do that? Now, a lot of people have this opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, that they actually don't live at that Montecito house, that they actually live elsewhere, that house is fake, this, that, and the other. And I can see why people are saying that, right? Because, again, there are rumours, opinion, conspiracy theories, whatevers, that the houses that they have filmed at, where they've tried to make it out that it's theirs, isn't. And they have been caught out a couple of times doing that, to my knowledge. So I can see where, okay, there's this opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever, going around that Meghan and Hazard don't actually live at that Montecito house in the first place. Now, going to Montecito myself, I can 100% say Meghan and Hazard live in Montecito. Okay, just by talking to the people that live there, the businesses, the people that work there. Yeah, they gave me every indication Meghan and Hazard are Montecitoites or whatever you want to call them, right? But then the question remains, based on what Richard Mineards has now said about Megsy, saying that she's not an asset to our community, that she's hardly around at all, really, when it comes to Montecito. The bigger question out of all of this is why? Why isn't she being neighbourly? Why isn't she involving herself even more within the life and the people and the Montecito society? Why? What is she trying to hide? Opinion, conspiracy theory, whatever. What does she not want the people of Montecito to know? Why is she keeping away from the people of Montecito? Because I'll tell you something, I spoke to a few of them and they're really, really nice, really, really friendly, really, really down to earth. There's nothing wrong with that. So why is Megsy keeping a distance? And before people say, oh, it's because of privacy, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. A lot of these people in Montecito are richer than her and more powerful than her, okay? So save me with that excuse of, oh, well, she wants a privacy. No. These are different kind of people here, all right? They're not just everyday people, all right? These are multi-millionaires, much more richer and much more powerful than her. So why isn't she integrating into Montecito society? What is she trying to hide? What does she not want them to know? I'm just asking for a friend. With that being said, if you appreciated this video and you want more, and believe me, of course, there's going to be more, you do not want to miss my next video, then make sure you subscribe to join our alternate tribe, because I'll be honest with you, help us now get to 1 million so we can also get that gold play button right there and hopefully cause a Meghan Markle meltdown on Instagram. Like, share, comment down below your opinion, conspiracy theories, whatever's. Also as well, if you've got some very, very strong opinions about this recent interview from this Montecito neighbour saying she ain't an asset to our community, and I bet you got some thoughts about that, then make sure you send me a super thanks. It's just below this video right here. We can have a conversation about this because it does guarantee a response from me. And Until the next time, you guys. Laters.
Steph don't play, she